Finally back home in the Central Valley, Fresno FC Zorros looking for some kind of home cooking. Welcome to Chuck Chansey Park for tonight's USL matchup. They take on Seattle Sounders 2 for the second time in franchise history. Fans have arrived, temperatures in the 90s to kick off. Matt Stubbington alongside Mike Watts with you for this one. And when you think about the last time these teams met, it was the first time that Fresno got 3 points. They did it on the road. They did it at Cheney in Tacoma, and it took a lot of time here for Fresno to finally put it all together. Good opportunities, though, for both sides in total, including this off the crossbar in the opening 11 minutes.
There was a lot of good opportunities throughout the match for both squads, but there was some disappointment for Seattle Sounders too. And in looking in the comments of the players into the build-up for this match, they want to have a little bit of revenge factor. It's been on the notice board, so to speak, that they conceded the goal in the 82nd minute and the disappointment. So they'll want to make sure that they get out on the best foot forwards tonight against Fresno to try and get some revenge. But Fresno, this was a pinpoint moment where they could really have that gut check, Mike, to get going on the winning ways and get the first 3 points of the season.
Verhoeven and Koffa both had their opportunities. Then in the 82nd minute, it was Jamal Johnson. And, well, it's the only goal that Fresno would need.
It was a pinpoint, absolutely textbook header downwards by the English striker, and he does a tremendous job of finding himself open inside the box.
And the assist man on that, Zach Ellis-Hayden, returns to the lineup tonight as well. More on that later. When you look at the summary for these two, stunningly similar. Seattle, a couple fewer games played.
They do have the 2 games in hand, but they are very similar records. Fresno, they did have their unbeaten streak. They couldn't find a way to turn the draws into victories. They've had 2 on the bounce now, losing games in the USL. They have to find a way to get back on the winning side of the ledger.
For Seattle, the more things change, the more they stay the same, I suppose. Well, at least for David Estrada, he is again in the starting lineup ever since Chankum was signed to Seattle Sounders. He's got more time.
He does have more time, and he is one of only 2 players in the lineup that have appeared in every match this season in the USL for Seattle Sounders 2. And that consistency of appearances, he'll have to turn that into consistency of performance. He's got 4 goals on the season, tied for the lead on the team. See whether he can find a way to keep putting the ball in the back of the net. And then for Fresno, what can you say? He has the ability to put the ball in the back of the net from the set piece. Juan Pablo Koffa, a magical left foot. When he's confident, he uses the right peg as well. But he's got that eye for the back of the net, the eye for the teammate, and him coming back from injury has been huge for Fresno. And see if he can find a way to kickstart the team back to the victorious ways.
Fresno at their best often has Juan Pablo Koffa stirring the drink. He leads the team in chances created and key passes, but tonight he tries to lead this Fresno offense to the goals necessary to finally get off the schneid. 2 months without a victory since 2 in a row at the end of March, but they're back in front of a friendly set of home fans taking on an S2 team that's winless in 4 straight and winless on the road. Will the results hold? Will Fresno get a win? Come back. Fresno back to the field. They're looking for that elusive first win since March 31st. For Seattle, they are back on the road, 4 winless now, looking to find a win of their own in unfriendly territory. Matt Stubbington alongside Mike Watts with you for S2. They haven't had the same lineup in back-to-back games yet this year. They haven't had the same lineup at all.
They haven't had the same lineup at all. I don't know how John Hutchinson manages all of these players coming in, the revolving door he seems to have for S2, but it is a strong lineup. There's got some good players, 34 on the left, 36 on the right. Usman and Ulysses, they are consistent on the flank, and they'll be important players going forwards for S2 tonight.
On the other side, we've been told Alex Cooper is away due to a personal issue. We wish him the best with that. And for Fresno, that means Zach Ellis-Hayden has a place to come back to. Corey Brown starts again on defense and a change up top.
There is change up top. Ribeiro is out of the lineup due to yellow card suspension, so there's got to be some shifting around. Kaffer is going into the midfield. Cheney getting a start, which is long overdue in my opinion. He's been good coming off of the bench. So it's going to be interesting to see how things pan out for Fresno tonight.
Underway from Chuck Chancey Park, Fresno Football Club back home taking on Seattle Sounders 2. And no Foxes allowed on the field during the run of play. He ushered off just as play began. Well, early pressure provided here. It's Denso Ulysses, and now Rainish out to collect, starting for the 13th straight game. Nice crowd. It's just short of 95 degrees. We're told to expect hydration breaks in both halves, which means hopefully the fans are prepared for that outcome too. Knocked away by Cesares. I think you and I both saw Ellis-Hayden in the starting lineup and had a bit of a grin. It's good for Fresno. It's frankly good for the game to have him back in. He brings a lot to the table, number 2 in blue.
Seeing him in the early part of the season flying up and down that right flank was really exciting for Fresno. And Adam Smith, I know he was very excited to see him back in the lineup. It was a weird abdominal injury, took a long time to recover from it. Hopefully for Fresno, it would bring some balance in the attack down the wings that they've been missing for large parts of this season.
Adam Smith needs the shades on the early part of this game. First-year head coach for the expansion team. Slide in from Jesse Daly. Bit of a hold up and a free kick off the handball.
Referee Elton Garcia indicating it did touch the hand of the Fresno player.
Kaffa wearing the captain's armband sees this glide up the touchline by him. So Bayo, and that'll get out for a Seattle Sounders 2 corner.
Well defended there by Daly. It looked like he was anticipating that ball to run on a little bit and over the byline, but he misplayed the ball and conceding the corner kick. A bit of a mental error early in the match.
Good early set piece action for S2. Kaffa rises up to meet it. Added further by Daly. Now the race is on. It's a wave of blue up the field and snuffed out by Nick Hines. But it gets underneath Cheney as it nearly found its way through. Now Kaffa. Hamden Fewo serving. Over Bustamante, still alive. Brought down, the shot is just wide of the post. Fresno in the 4th minute, almost on the front foot, but Brian Meredith ultimately watched that go wide.
Exciting end-to-end stuff. All started with a good defensive header from Kafa, heading it back to the middle of the park, allowing his team to start the counterattack, kept alive. Not the best of balls played in by Johnson, collected at that far post. Barrera, I think, with the shot, left-footed, just past the upright.
Well, Fresno looks bent on forcing turnovers and getting at Seattle right at the outset, aren't they?
Home team's got to be excited to be back in Chancey Park.
Olsen eventually shoved off the ball. Corey Brown there on loan from Vancouver. And look, Adam Smith told us he's not one to make excuses because the road it took its toll. It was rough.
You have the road trips and you throw in the US Open Cup matches as well, but went to extra time. You know, I've talked to coaches throughout the league and they always bring up management of the rosters, management of the players, and it really gets ignored.
Poor John Hutchinson. No one has to deal with more management of roster than the S2 head coach, but go on. It's a different management
It's a different
issue.
management. I mean, for coaches like Adam Smith, it's managing minutes on players. John Hutchinson, it's wondering who's going to be putting in the lineup tonight. But it's so important for the coaches is trying to get that consistency and making sure that everybody's getting the playing time, but also the recovery that they need so they can perform at the top level that they need to in this league.
Kevin Faywell stumbling over Hines. It's a throw for Seattle. Enter 15th in the West, 10 games played, couple in hand. With 8 points, they can move within a point of Fresno if they find 3 on the road. But Seattle enjoying home, Fresno enjoying home. It's a pretty drastic couple sets of splits. 4 winless away for Sounders too. But Tacoma's been a nice home for them. A little heartbroken by how it all finished out against Fresno, though, back on the 28th of March.
For large portions of that game, the home team were in control. Although Fresno had their chances as well, but possession and the majority of chances went the way of S2, but in the end it was the visitors, the Foxes, that found a way to put the ball in the back of the net. Hence the disappointment from the squad for S2 in the conversations this week. Making back passes like that, they might find that they're on the wrong side of the score ledger a lot earlier in the game this time around.
Meredith, his 4th start of the year. Popped up by Daly, and that got out. No, it hasn't been all that smooth so far for S2. Nearly the case again. For Fresno, well, Adam Smith just happy to be home again. And while they don't have a lot of wins at home, it's those 4 draws where he felt maybe there were 2 or 3 wins that they could have had. And then you're talking about Fresno being a top 8 team right now. Of course, there's coulda, woulda, and shoulda, but didn't.
And that's the important thing for the team. Throughout the season, I've been impressed with the character of Fresno and the morale of the squad and how they've competed in every game. And even against Real Monarchs, they were dominated for large portions, but they had their chances as well. It was really last time out, they lost 3-0. That was a game that I felt that they never really had a chance in. I'm talking to Adam Smith, he said the real gut clincher was the 3rd goal. It was just tired minds and tired legs making poor decisions, and led to the ball being played through easily and then finished for the 3rd goal in the stoppage time. And that's something that has to be eradicated if they are going to find their way into the playoff picture, is making those mental errors when they are tired.
Bouncing ball through, Cheney in pursuit. coming for Fresno. Tap further back by Cesaris. Could have been dangerous. I was interested to see off that Orange County game just how many changes would be in the offing for Fresno. In the end, the answer 5. All outfield players. A Fresno team that really felt like they hadn't seen a result quite like that yet this year. The score line certainly, but that third goal really did bother them. Johnson outrun for the ball. And this will get out.
That's just good movement there from Johnson to find himself open on this left flank. A great recovery there by Ulysses to get back quickly goal side.
Johnson tried to cut it to the far post. Came close. Jamal Johnson trying to play S2 killer again.
That was just too easy off the throw-in. It was just a simple play it back to Camden Feo, who took the throw-in. Hines never picked up the mark of Johnson coming back from the release pass back to Camden Feo. Johnson could have done better. Maybe had time to put it on his right and have a shot.
Do you have an opinion on the baseball hat from the goalkeeper?
He's looking directly into the sun, and so he does need the cap to try and shield the eyes a little bit.
Does he? It's kind of like one of those cool guys don't look at explosions kind of deal. Are you willing to look into the sun for the right to not wear a baseball hat?
Yeah, but if the ball's coming in high and from that side of the pitch, you better be looking for it.
Estrada is widened out. And a corner on the way for S2 in the 12th minute. Comes to Hines. Intercepted. Bustamante wrapped up at the shoulders by Hines. And a yellow card early on.
Not a surprise there that Mr. Hines get the yellow card. He was giving Bustamante a hug for an awful long time.
For number 31, Nick Hines.
And putting the right arm over the shoulder to whisper sweet nothings in the ear of Bustamante. He was just trying to slow things down. And you can't do that in the game of soccer. One of the easiest yellow card decisions you'll ever see.
Meredith takes over. It's worth noting that while the temperatures are in the 90s, we're being told by our red hat on the field, who's situated next to the referee, the 4th official, that the wet bulb thermometer that's used to describe the conditions on the field in terms of heat do not require, as of now, a hydration break. Shaney spins around. Sorry was there. Couple players slide to ground. Ultimately, Opeo drew the foul.
Wes Hayden was trying to talk himself into the referee's notebook as well, waggling his finger like that. That's not good. Factor in the heat index in the calculation for the necessity for the hydro break, and he's not that high down on the field right now. Of course, the shade's coming over as well, so it feels pretty good running around at the moment.
For everyone but Meredith. Olsen further for Opeo. And all the way to Rainish. Meredith. Intercepted Cesaris. Maybe a chance here. It slid away. Ultimately got out to Ulissi.
Important sliding challenge there from Narbonne to take that ball off the foot of Cheney. Captain of S2. Sorry, had gone in on the challenge, didn't win the ball cleanly. Fell to Cheney. He was trying to get into the attacking third. Narbonne came out nicely. So used to Fresno going down the flanks and crossing the ball in from out wide, but there's a lot of speed. Usman and Ulissi for S2. Might be a bit more of a challenge for the Foxes to get down the flanks. They might be better served to try and get down the middle a little bit. Find Cheney to feet. And then utilize his ability to hold play up a little bit. Find the width with Jamal Johnson and Bustamante a little bit further up the pitch rather than relying on Camden Feo and Zach Ellis Hayden to come in from so far deep in the middle third.
Camden Feo crossing, got all the way through and ricochets out the other side. That ball gets out of play, and Fresno does well to use the wing. They're going after it again. A player down the other way. Turning ball upfield from Daly.
It might have been Usman that was falling awkwardly. See a play coming in here. Bustamante holding things up a little bit more centrally in the park. Camden Feo on the overlap past Johnson, creating the width further up the pitch, which is something we haven't seen from Fresno. They've relied on those outside backs, collecting the ball at the halfway line, and then running at the outside defenders of their opposition.
You're right, that was Ibrahim Usman, 18-year-old Nigerian.
Receive free shipping on
His 9th start of the year.
Let's see what the athletic trainer is working on there. There's a problem with his arm by the looks of things. Tape being applied to the wrist.
And a lot of it.
Matches the uniform.
Yes, it does. Usman a bit interesting. There was an article from Christian Dyer, who's based in the New York area, about what he called the dawn of MLS 4.0. There have been gradual tectonic shifts in where talent is found. And West Africa is an area that's drawn a lot of interest. New York is a team that's done it well. Usman, one of those players that could end up proving to be a nice find. S2, the perfect place for the Sounders organization to figure it all out. And we'll see what he looks like in a Sounders uniform.
There's always a lot of talented players in Africa, and Nigeria have certainly been a surprising team on occasion on the international scene. Certainly gave England all they could handle in the second 45 minutes of their friendly at Wembley today. Listening to the commentary, it sounded like Nigeria didn't show up for the first 45.
Those Nigeria World Cup jerseys were actually, I mean, it's an absolute boondoggle. They're phenomenal. Lines around blocks in London for those, I was seeing.
That's what I was hearing. I was listening to the radio broadcasts coming to the game today, but so I wasn't able to see the lines or the jerseys as yet, but it'd be something I will look up.
I'll say this, similar colors to the Sounders jerseys tonight, if that makes sense. Well, it's brought down by Johnson, and now Kaffa. There's room up this far touchline. Barrera touching further, maybe a chance here for Fresno, turning it at the byline. Kaffa after it, Meredith brings it down, it's in the net, it won't count. It will not count for Christian Cheney.
How important was it that Olsen came back defensively for S2? A well-worked attack for the home team down the flank. Springing Ellis Hayden, he was flying. There was the intercept from Olsen. Cheney was unlucky there. Meredith came over the top. Cheney never left his feet, and yet the foul was called against him.
How about Zach Ellis Hayden and the value he just brought to the table? As foul against Cheney.
Another illustration what I thought the Fresno team would have to do to be successful down the flanks. They play the ball into Kaffa. He finds Barrera, who holds play up, allows Ellis Hayden on the overlap to just sprint through into the attacking third. Delivers a fantastic pass. If it wasn't for Olsen coming back defensively, we'd be definitely looking at a 1-0 scoreline in favor of the Foxes.
Off of Hines. Ball lofted across. Snap header! Steered aside. It's a corner. Wonderful stuff from Rainish to keep that out of the corner.
A looping header the goalkeeper had to do really well. Quick feet to his left. All seemed a little innocuous off the volley. Beautifully done. Estrada trying to find the back of the net. The delivery from Ulysses off the volley was very technical skill. The goalkeeper was equal to it.
Small percussion orchestra trying to hamper Hines in the corner. Hines drives the service, lofted away. And the whistle blows late from the referee. It'll come back and belong to Fresno in the 22nd minute of play.
As we're following the ball, wondering whether Barrera would find a way to spring the counterattack for the third time off of a corner kick for Fresno.
Ball deflects down to Cheney. Cheney faces up, lost his footing. Sorry overcame him. Slid aside. Johnson keeping possession for Fresno. Now lofting over the back line. Cheney nods it down. Bustamante in pursuit. On the turn, Narbonne behind him. Camden Fayewo. Camden Fayewo. And that's out for a goal kick. The USL's official Twitter feed keeps you up to date. News, live game updates, highlights from around the league 24/7. Follow along at USL on Twitter.
Camden Fayewo looked like he was in two minds whether to try and give Kaffa the return pass and realized that the captain was in an offside position. In the end, he tried to go to the byline and cross the ball over, but poor delivery, kicks it straight out of bounds. Really in that whole build-up, Mike, there was a couple of moments of indecision. One from Cheney, he had Barrera wide open on the right flank. Didn't see him, ended up losing out to Sari. And then that moment from Camden Fayewo where he didn't make the right choices, whether he was going to go to his right or not.
Wonderful build-up here. It breaks down at the final moment. Camden Fayewo in the center of it. Hines slip ball through. This will get all the way out. David Olsen chasing it all the way to the byline.
Get around that brick wall that is Camden Fayewo. He's a big body.
Foxes fans, remember to
I think if you're Adam Smith right now, you're pretty pleased with the effort at home. It's been a struggle. They won their Open Cup games, but in the league, they haven't had a win in a couple months' time. They haven't panicked, but so far, so good through 24 minutes.
He's got to be feeling pretty good about the way the team is performing. I think you're right.
Thank you to our ball kick sponsor.
They've looked good on the counterattack. They've looked good in the build-up play. I think be happy that we haven't mentioned Cesares a whole lot, which means that he's doing his job in the holding midfield role. Nice service to players like Olsen, Estrada as well.
23-year-old Frenchman, Bradley Camden-Fewo. Some left back, some center back. Give some options. There's Brown. Camden-Fewo, a guy I was thinking about before the game. You don't realize he's 23 because he's already played 2 years in this league at a high level in Rochester, coming out of UNLV. Oh, this is going to break through. Bustamante waiting for runners. Played it through for Kaffa. It's behind him, but he's able to recover. Kaffa lofting, back post. Ball is handled in the box. It's a penalty. It's Usman. And a penalty coming for Fresno.
Again, dangerous on the counterattack. Indecision from Bustamante, gets a little bit lucky. Great work from the captain, hustling to stand this ball up at the back post. And Usman just gets so unlucky there, trying to volley the ball out. And then that little bit of green bandaging touches the ball.
Literally insult to injury. Literally. Let's be frank, big moment here for Juan Pablo Kaffa, for a Fresno team so desperately wants to get the opening goal. Meredith between the sticks. Juan Pablo Kaffa, goal! Fresno has the advantage in the 27th.
Clinical finish on the penalty kick. A little stutter step on the run up, but there was no stuttering on the way he put that ball in the back of the net. So assured with his left foot. There's the little hesitation. Meredith frozen for a moment. Just passes it into the back of the net. Accurate on the shot. And that was a very important finish, giving the home team the advantage. Build that confidence. Can they continue to find other ways to put the ball in the back of the net?
Third of the year for Kaffa, second most on the club. Only behind Jamal Johnson. Scored 4 goals this year. In all 4 cases, it was the first goal for Fresno in the match. Chance off the turnover now. Slid through for Cheney, and Narbonne has done a good job collecting those through balls so far. Sliced to Kaffa. Something just hasn't been right about S2 in midfield handling the ball so far tonight.
I think that a lot of that is Cesares is doing a good job defensively.
Hines, Fresno struggling to keep the ball here. Knocks it aside. Daly. Pressure from Fresno, though, feels like more than I've seen from them in recent games.
They have better shape in the midfield right now. Kaffa and Cesares are doing a good job, and Cesares is understanding his role because Kaffa is there alongside. The spacing is there because Cesares knows that he is the true holding player. He's not having to share the attacking role with Ribeiro. So I think there's a better definition of what those players are doing. That allows some better shape in the center area of the pitch. Cesares is denying the service up to Hopio and Olsen Hines. Johnson, Barrera as well, doing a good job of winning the possession, starting the counterattack. And when you've got Usman and Ulysses out of position, you can really exploit the flanks when you get into the attacking third.
Well, Matt, I think that's the irony of this, isn't it? Ribeiro is theoretically as good a player as Fresno can put on the field, and yet it's in his absence in central midfield that they found this role definition, and it does make you wonder. They brought him in as a number 9 and dropped him to a number 6. Maybe this opens up some new role definition for Ribeiro when he does return, should this continue beyond half an hour and another hour into the game toward full time.
I've always felt that Kaffa would be a good fit in the central area of the pitch. And
challenge, edge of the area. It's a goal kick. Camden Fayewo went to ground.
Ulysses had to make sure of the challenge. Certainly from Adam Smith's perspective, he will think that this was a penalty kick. Head down, Camden Fayewo just trying to get in the box. Certainly Ulysses was not really on terms. I have to say Camden Fayewo was never really in control of the ball either.
Good look from our director, Red Osejo, tonight. Played along by Blake Malone, the 17-year-old. Gets the call to start on defense. It's his 3rd start of the season, the academy signing of the Sounders.
I think with Kaffa being in the midfield role that he's employed in tonight, I think that allows that definition for Cesares, and I think that will be something good moving forwards. Adam Smith wanted to have Kaffa further up the pitch, playing underneath the forward. It just seems to, he's one of those players for me, Kaffa, that just can fulfill that role of just roaming wherever he wants to go, because he has the talent and vision to just influence the game just about from anywhere he is on the field.
Wow, if this comes off. Yeah, it did. Camden Fayewo crossing a header. Well, it was rising up on Christian Janey.
Camden Fayewo did really well. Look at the back heel from Jamal Johnson. The run through from Camden Fayewo. The service is good. Janey mistimed his jump. Holds his hand up, says, sorry guys, I should have done better.
Bustamante. Stabbed away by Narbonne. The native of Panama City, spent 2016 largely riding the pine in Cincinnati. Just 4 appearances under John Hartz.
Defensive shape of Fresno making things very difficult. Sorry, he's got to find a way to get on the ball a little bit more, but also has to find a way to try and turn when he does receive the pass. Find his outside players further up the pitch. It's a little bit conservative, just passing the ball back to Narbonne or Malone. And that just allows Fresno to keep their defensive shape even more, because they have the wide players. Barrera, Johnson, Camden Fayewo, they're taking away the passing options out on the flanks.
Camden Fayewo was in an offside position.
Whenever S2 get the ball, you can see the outside backs, Usman and Ulysses, they push up very, very early. But because Seattle aren't getting the ball into players like Olsen, Sari, and Daly, they can't find those 2 players out wide far enough up the pitch. Fresno are intercepting the ball in the middle third and then just starting the counterattack. So Ulysses and Usman are having to come chasing back very early. You see Sari now getting the ball. He's looking up, trying to find a pass, but there's really nothing doing.
There's Ulysses flyby from Johnson. Those two had very good games in Tacoma at the end of March. Well, it's another turnover forced. And Bustamante is in. Cheney cutting in behind him. Bustamante saved Meredith. He slapped it away. He's after it still. Kept alive the shot again at the feet of Meredith. And Barrera lined it right into the goalkeeper.
One of those intercepts. Great job from Bustamante, but great work here from Cheney to find a way to create a supporting run. And because he does the overlap across the left shoulder of Bustamante, he takes two defenders with him, opens up the opportunity for the shot. If it wasn't for the fact that Narbonne was wary of it, it would have been a clear-cut opportunity. Good awareness from Cheney on the run. Great saves from the goalkeeper. They weren't spectacular, but he had to stand strong and make sure he played the geometry of the position perfectly.
Big moment there for S2. Brown turned it over. Daly. Rainish on the ball for Fresno. Not that it hasn't been entertaining, but I don't think either coach goes into the locker room thinking we took really good care of the ball tonight.
No, the passing statistics aren't going to be anything to write home about tonight.
Again, I've enjoyed it. You know, Estrada had a really good chance early in the match. Fresno's had a couple chances on counters. It's been up-tempo, but...
Look at the passes, 117 attempted by Fresno, 178 for S2. So they haven't taken good care of the ball. Both teams are right around their average completion rate for the season. Both squads are right around 77, 75, 76% for the season, which is what they're at tonight.
Smith telling us no need to panic yet. Both teams have indicated that it was in the back of their minds, that result in March. Fresno feeling, hey, we've already beaten this team. Seattle thinking we had chances to beat them. Ultimately felt heartbroken at the end of the night. But a lot changes in 2 months. Kind deflection for Fresno. Bustamante. Here comes Kaffa. Another well-played run up the sideline. This will get out for a corner. The combination play from Fresno has large in part been slick so far tonight.
Done a really good job. Barrera with the deftest of touches there, springing his captain down the flank. Again, great recovery from the outside back for S2. This time it was Usman coming back defensively.
It's Barrera. High in-swinging ball. Cheney rose up over the group. It's a goal kick coming.
Good work from Bustamante. Barrera just the outside of the right boot. You see Kaffa there. He might have had the cross with his right peg if he'd have selected it, but he tries to cut the ball back. Usman was wise to that. Knowing that Kaffa likes to use his left peg more than his right.
Kaffa from the penalty spot, 27th minute, the goal for Fresno. As S2 looks for their response. 6 minutes short of halftime, turned over. Johnson lets this bounce down, and now he's out into space. There's room up this right-hand side. Alice Hayden, get another look to cross. Sending it, Meredith makes the grab. pulling down that Select ball. It's the official soccer ball of the USL for the latest Select products and special offers. Visit selectsportamerica.com and receive free shipping on orders of $50 or more.
Some frustration there for John Hutchinson, up with his assistant on the sideline discussing things. There's been a lot of wide open play in that transitional area from the middle third to the attacking third for Fresno. Sorry is just wringing his arms in frustration as well. The mood is not good for S2 right now. Just haven't found a way to penetrate the back line of Fresno with any consistency. The Foxes have good defensive shape, taking away the width, taking away those runs of Usman and Ulysses. The mood is not bright for the Seattle Sounders too.
All for only $75. Space is limited. For more information on purchasing the travel and ticket deal, head over to our ticket office window on the concourse or visit us on FresnoFC.com. Support the Foxes in the City of Angels.
Well, you heard it from Chuck Chancey Park. LAFC next on the docket. Open Cup for Fresno midweek on Wednesday night. Way to Bank of California Stadium. That place is something else. Hines. Isn't able to wind that up the wing.
All the good work from Hines was just undone from the fact that he made the pass too obvious and tried to be too cute. It was an easy intercept for Ellis Hayden.
Ellis Hayden commits the foul. Well, Sorry wants to get moving.
Sure who it is that is down, but he wants his time to recover. I can tell you, getting the knee of Ellis Hayden in the back of your thigh is not going to feel good.
Soto fans, remember you can stay up to date with Fresno
It's
FC by
Hopeo
visiting
that's
our
down.
official website at FresnoFC.com. Download the
Hopeo,
schedule, get all match
part of the
information,
homegrown
and don't
territory
forget to
of the
purchase
Seattle
your
Sounders
Fresno FC
organization.
gear. Get the latest
Hawaii.
news on all things Fresno FC at
Just
FresnoFC.com.
2,600 miles from Honolulu to Tacoma. First Hawaiian to sign with S2 out of the Rush Academy out there. 19 years old, his first full year with the club. Kept in play by Ulysses, nodded out.
Just looking at Cheney over at the sideline during that break in play, getting instruction from Rob Earnshaw. Veteran forward as the assistant coach for Adam Smith.
Adam Smith has not really been all that coy about the idea that he can still score goals if asked. This is not his first rodeo.
I remember one of our earlier conversations with Adam Smith is if these boys can't learn from Mr. Earnshaw, then they can't learn from anybody.
Fresno FC 2018.
The kids need to use Wikipedia for this? Maybe.
Of your choice, starting at $70. For more information, visit our ticket experts on the concourse.
He's got a raw group of forwards in total. Obviously, if you decide to play Ribeiro or Kaffa as a number 9 or even as a winger in certain formations, they bring up the average age. But Bustamante is young, Cheney is young. In this front three, there are players that could stand to learn a lot from him.
Absolutely, and what a great opportunity for those young players to learn from somebody who's achieved so much in the game and at different levels as well. And he's perhaps a little undersized, but made the most of his talents.
Play trying to slide through, ultimately all the way to Meredith.
Fans want a behind-the-scenes look at Fresno FC. You can stay connected with these Soros on social media. At FFC Foxes on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. That's FFC Foxes on all social media platforms. Fourth official signals 2 minutes of stoppage time.
2 minutes of added time.
2 minutes of stoppage time.
Well, there's an injury here, and let's go back a step. Juan Pablo Caffa scored on the penalty and held up this shirt. Alex Cooper's dad passed away. We've been told Alex is currently overseas attending to that. Neil Cooper, a longtime coach. Rest in peace to him. We mentioned earlier that he was out due to a personal issue. And, well, all the best to his family. We all know just how devastating that is. And you can learn so much from a father that's a coach. We see it so often. Some of the most technical and the best teammates often come off that tree. And when you talk with Adam Smith about Alex Cooper, I think his dad would be really proud the way that he's described as a leader, as an MVP, as the guy teammates look to. I can't understate the importance of Alex Cooper to Fresno FC.
He is such an important part of what Fresno have done this season and the way they go about playing the game, his competitive spirit up and down the left flank. He scored some important goals, some late goals during this season, created some opportunities as well, and his dad would be proud of what Alex has been able to achieve, and it's sad for the family, and as you say, all of the best to them, and it's a sad time, and hopefully Alex will be back in a Fresno shirt soon enough, but more important things to worry about right now.
Certainly so. Away from Cheney, it belongs to S2. Where that was about a minute-long injury, causes this to go beyond the 2 minutes of added time. It's their late equalizer for S2 before the halftime break.
Again, just good defensive shape there from Fresno. Jamel Johnson just dropping off enough to not allow the ball played on the ground out wide to Ulysses.
Ooh, a foul at the edge of the area. Ulysses going down. And it's a great opportunity right at the end of the first half for S2, a yellow card to go with it.
Well, that's one thing that Camden Feo does bring to the table. He gets a little clumsy in the challenge on occasion. Gets high on the challenge in this situation. Arms up on the back of Ulysses. Definitely was a foul. And just you could see the frustration from Juan Pablo Caffa there, the captain, just rubbing his hands through his hair in frustration. Mental error right at the end of the first half.
By the way, we were asking why Camden Feo didn't play last time. He had problems with his contacts. He couldn't see, so he was left off the bench in Orange County. Hines plays it out in front. Ball drops towards Narbonne. Lofts it out. Halftime whistle, and Fresno leaves the first half with a 1-goal lead.
It's an important 1-goal lead. A little bit of a mental error at the end, giving up the free kick, but they defended it really well. It's Juan Pablo Caffa, the goal scorer from the penalty kick. Calmly done by the captain. There's been some really good moments for Fresno getting into the attacking third, finding some space on the flanks, and really causing some problems for S2.
His 12th career USL goal, and he's still talking this over with Johnson on his way off the field. memorable in more ways than one. Some things are bigger than the game. Juan Pablo Caffa scores and remembers a man lost. It's 1-0 Fresno at the half.
Remember, the Doers at Chevron are proud to be the official energy partner of the Fresno Football Club. Chevron helps provide the energy that keeps Fresno doing on and off the pitch. Brought to you by the Western Bacon Cheeseburger from Carl
Gorgeous
Jr.
sights in the Central Valley of California. Fresno Football Club, a 1-0 lead over Seattle Sounders 2 FC. And one would think that that's an equally good sight for the fans that made it out to the match here in Fresno tonight. Well, Fresno's next match is going to be away to Reno on June the 9th. They do play a U.S. Open Cup match in the interim, but Reno coming up with a big result tonight. And well, last year they were just an offensive juggernaut.
They were really good offensively last year. They've had their struggles a little bit this year, but they found a way to get the job done today against Oklahoma Energy. So it's going to be an interesting game next time out in the league play for Fresno, and important to get those results on the road.
So that's what's coming up next. Of course, away to LAFC for their next game in the U.S. Open Cup on Wednesday. Meanwhile, if you haven't seen what Jack Blake brings to the table, Tampa Bay Rowdies midfielder always has something interesting to show you. Maybe it's the best goal or the best save or just something that looks particularly interesting. Here's the Blake down. It's Fresno by 1 at the half.
Mercedes-Benz of Fresno.
Welcome to another episode of The Blake Down. This week I've handpicked some of my favorite plays from the week. I hope you guys enjoy it.
Back across to lose. Iwolo still loose. And how about?
This play from Iwolo starts here. You know, he wins the header, and that allows his striker to go through on goal. The commitment to win the header and then follow it through with the run and the support as well. Because he could just stop. He could stop his run and expect the striker to score, but he follows it through. He doesn't take the best of first touches when it comes back to him, but he has the composure to take another touch and relax. So cheeky double nutmeg to finish it off.
Sort of there, finds Perez. Perez with the back heel, it's there, and a goal! Joaquin Rivas!
This play is more about the assist. When he picks it up, it's very difficult because he has 2 defenders on him. He uses his awareness, his spatial awareness is fantastic. He tries to stay in the box as long as possible, and then the support run from Rivas is also tremendous. It looks an easy skill, but it's not. It's very difficult. And again, Rivas' finish on the weaker foot into the far corner. Again, it's a brilliant play.
Combine well with others. We saw him a few weeks ago with Fresno.
Oh, this is dangerous opportunity here, strike, and we are equal!
This has to be one of my favorite plays from the week. When Lopez gets the better of his defender here, he sees the keeper coming out. His first touch actually takes him on a tight angle. And when you see this frame here, he knows he's got 3 defenders rushing back to goal. So that when he takes his strike, he knows that he has to put pace on it. Now, to put pace on it from that angle is a very difficult technique. I don't think if he had that moment again, he could do it any better. You know, it's a fantastic finish, perfect, with 3 defenders running back to goal. It has to be my favorite player of the week.
Mendez, good ball. Here's Zubak looking for number 3, and he scores!
The connected movement from Ethan Zubak and his fellow strike partner here is fantastic. You know, he comes to feet and he drags the defender with him, and then he uses his agility and his speed to get past the defender with just a simple movement, a simple step. Again, to have that partnership with your striker is something that's very strong, and it will hold him in good stead for the season. There's a reason why he's player of the week. Out of his 4 goals that he scored, that was my favorite, purely because of the movement and the tactical awareness from both of them.
When I saw Alex Mendez get the ball from an entry pass, I just knew I had to spin off, and when the ball came right to my feet on top of the box, I just decided to go for it and finish it.
I hope you've all enjoyed this week's episode of The Breakdown. I look forward to seeing you next week.
Well, listening to some of the young starlets for LA Galaxy 2, and, well, that appears to be the story of this first half. Whoever Alex and his family are watching, we hope that you're okay. And, well, Alex, we can't wait to have you back in Fresno when the time is right. Matt Stubbington alongside Mike Watts with you. Let's take a look at some news and notes. It took 48 days for number 49 to score his 50th goal. It was a just devastating wait for Chandler Hoffman, but the Alabaman finally get the job done. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh loses in the Open Cup, loses to Nashville as well, so they're undefeated no more. And, well, how about those young kids with Galaxy 2?
They've been doing a fantastic job all season, and they just don't know that they're not supposed to be that good, I don't think. They just come out and play great and score hat tricks and put the ball in the back of the net. I mean, fantastic to see the youth coming through and doing a great job.
Legitimately, Efrain Alvarez could have 50 goals by the end of the year.
If they keep going the way they are, they will.
Meanwhile, elsewhere, team of the week. And, well, Ethan Zubak, player of the week for LA Galaxy 2 with that 8-minute hat trick. And, well, it's a good mix of East and West in total.
There's good balance there. And look at McMahon in the back line. He's coming back to Louisville City. He's doing a good job for them in defense. And Independence getting 2 players on the team of the week. So that's a reflection of how good they're doing this season.
And let's take a look at what's coming up out on the West Coast. Some upcoming games around the United Soccer League. As these players you see on your screen will be in action for some West Coast action over the next couple of days. Of course, we mentioned that Fresno is going to be taking on Reno away, so your chance to see Shaw play listed as one of the forwards from that team of the week. And, of course, the game away to LAFC is going to draw some eyeballs, too. Sacramento will host in the U.S. Open Cup midweek. Louisville with McMahon will host New England Revolution this week. And so a lot of these players have big matches in the near-term future.
I certainly do. I mean, the U.S. Open is such a great tournament. I mean, I love the knockout tournaments that are around the world, but certainly the U.S. Open Cup has a lot of history, and it's great to see the USL teams in it. And some great games coming up. Always my eye is drawn to games that involve Phoenix Rising. Didier Drogba obviously involved in those games, and Portland Timbers too, Mike. They've had a really good run of form recently.
Yeah, didn't see them in second place at this stage of the season, and, well, Sacramento is not far behind. That's a match of 3 and 4. Fuego getting jiggy with it at Chuck Chancey Park. That's what the kids say, right?
You take your word for it.
Yeah. Well, Fresno a 1-goal lead at halftime. Juan Pablo Coffa the penalty. We'll show you how it all happened when we come back to Chuck Chancey Park after this.
So how this works, y'all ready? You guys brought your best dancing shoes, so I know y'all ready to put that ball.
to the following group. Mercedes-Benz of Fresno, AALRR Pro Law, Bain and Sports, Big Garden Youth Soccer League, South Valley Chivas.
Well, Fresno's back home, and they certainly feel at home through 45 minutes. Seattle struggling to find themselves, and well, the Foxes a 1-0 lead with the penalty coming from Juan Pablo Cafa's third goal of the season. As we take a look at our first half highlights, Matt Stubbington alongside Mike Watts with you, and well, Fresno taking advantage of an S2 team that's a little discombobulated in midfield for much of this match.
They are discombobulated, and that's a large part due to the good defensive shape that Fresno have had. But this was a moment that brought some magic from Rainish. The cross came in from Ulysses. It was a header from Estrada. A fine footwork from the goalkeeper to put that one around the upright. There's been good combination play going forwards for the home team. The Foxes finding players in and around the attacking third. Great effort from Cafa to find that ball. And that was the handball that led to the penalty kick. Usman, very unlucky, trying to volley this one out of the penalty area and actually hits it into his own arm. And quite calmly, the captain puts that away with the left foot. Meredith despairingly diving in the right direction, but never got close to the save.
Cafa's third of the season, one off the team high, and of course, a celebration to remember as well. Meanwhile, how about the combination play on the wings? This Johnson to Camden Faywo over the top from Cheney.
Cheney just mistiming his jump, but this is what Fresno have been doing, and they've had good balance down both wings this evening, which is going to be very encouraging for Adam Smith. And it's finding those combinations further up the pitch is what they are doing a good job of tonight. And then another good job is Bustamante finding a way to intercept the pass. And look at the run from Cheney, taking two players with him. It's actually Sari there that recovered his position well. The goalkeeper had to come up big. Positionally, he was doing a good job, was Meredith. But look at the run here from Cheney around the back. He didn't know which way to go, but in the end, he takes two defenders with him. Sari did a great job of recovering. The goalkeeper, Meredith, had to do a very good job of making sure that he made the saves, the second one coming from Barrera.
There are the halftime statistics, and well, for Sounders too, the possession number's good, but if Fresno's going to counter, this is what the game is going to look like. They have one shot, it's a really good one. Rainish, one big save.
Rainish did come up big when he had to, but at 61%, I was really surprised to see that. But Fresno, they're having good moments of the defensive shape is good. They're getting numbers behind the ball, and when they do win possession, it's in the middle third, and they're just springing the counter really quickly. And you got Usman and Ulysses up the pitch for S2. They're struggling to get back on terms. So I think Adam Smith's going to be thrilled with the way his team's playing tonight.
All the cones are out. Team's warming up again for the second half. Goodness, I hope they had some air conditioning in the locker rooms during that break.
Well, players might want the hydration break back for the second half. So Narbonne has been given the captain's armband, so that to me says that Sari might be off the pitch to start the second half. We'll wait on confirmation of that.
Narbonne very good in that first half on the whole, I thought.
Yeah, he did a good job in partnership with Malone. There's a lot being asked of those two central players because the outside backs of Usman and Ulysses go forward so early. Narbonne and Malone have to make sure that they play very smart and disciplined in the middle area of the defensive line.
Well, Fresno playing a couple on the road next. They knew that May was going to be particularly difficult. Hutchinson and Cafa share one of those nods. Still begrudging respect until the game's over, one would think. But then they finally get home again in USL play to take on Sacramento Republic on the 13th of June. Couple changes coming. Azriel Gonzalez checking in, 16 years old. Nick Hines playing on a yellow card will check out. To your point, Sari will come away. And Anthony Burke-Gilroy checking in as well, the Englishman. Well, Fresno chomping at the bit. Could this be the day where a lengthy stretch without a victory comes to a close? Will S2 go on the road and return the favor, break the hearts of the Fresno faithful? Gonzalez for Hines. Burke Gilroy, the other substitute, checking on for Ray Sorry in midfield. Meredith and Seattle will move right to left in this second half in the Rave green jerseys. Sosaris missed the mark there. If you're S2, what's the takeaway coming out of halftime? This is a team that only had one shot, but if it goes in, this is a completely different game, isn't it?
Well, they got to be relieved that they are not down by more goals, because certainly Fresno had lots of opportunities and good opportunities in the first 45 minutes. I think Hutchinson, coach for S2, is really asking his team to take control of the midfield. I mean, essentially, you have 5 players in there playing against 4. You've got the numerical advantage, but the other thing is you have 2 players in the holding midfield position and then the 3 attackers. You should be able to take care of the central players of Cesaris and Kaffa, and those 5 players just haven't done the job. Looking at Burke Gilroy there. Actually, that was Daly, just didn't react once the free kick was taken. He's there to make the challenge, but it took him several seconds to engage his brain and get the message from upstairs to downstairs to get his feet moving.
Estrada coming back to the ball. He's been denied most of the game outside of that one terrific header downward that Rainish made the crucial stop on, opening half an hour. This crossed, nobody home. Camden Fayewo knocks it away. The follow-up gets by Gonzalez. Inside the area, Daly. Ball just barely going faster than the man. Got by Olsen. Now a chance for S2. Keep the attack alive. Daly. Slip through. Intercepted by Barrera. And they start the counter. Cheney. That got up, hit him on the arm. A quick restart from S2. They want to take advantage. Peo's pass ultimately ricochets free. Kaffa. Johnson had a dynamic opening half. Cheney available. Bustamante the trailer. There's the cross. All the way through.
Johnson just has a smooth change of pace. Just tell players to beat your defender, you either change your direction or your speed. Preferably you do both. Johnson is able to do both, but on that occasion it was just that little slowing down, hesitation, freezing the defender, and then the acceleration to get around the corner. The cross was a good one, but Fresno teammates were not there in numbers to get on the end of the ball served by Johnson.
Narbonne leading the charge. Narbonne still alive, and now deflected away. That leave a shred of space for Cheney to attack. Cheney's in behind. Cheney bowled over from behind. It's a clean play. He lost his footing.
Cheney knows that was a moment that went begging. He did everything right. He's just got to have the courage to pull the trigger, take the shot.
Heavy challenge from Johnson. A free kick, and well, you said it. It's an opportunity left begging for Cheney. A guy who could really use a goal for his confidence.
Well, credit to Burke Gilroy. He just stays with the play. It was him that was turned originally. It was shoulder to shoulder. He was behind the back pocket, I thought, of Cheney. But Gilroy's a little lucky that Mr. Garcia deemed that was a fair challenge.
Good look for S2. It's cleared away for a moment. Mobeo.
Well, the bottom line is, Mike, when you're in a position like that, Cheney has to find a way to take the shot. You've done everything right. You find yourself open.
I mean, that was really clever stuff around Malone, the center back, too.
Oh, it was. I mean, he turned Gilroy so well. And then that little touch that got him behind the back line.
Lissy slides the ball across. Releasing Cheney. You make good on it in short terms. Toe poked out by Narbonne. And when we spoke this week with Adam Smith, the head coach for Fresno, he told us that Cheney had one of his brighter days against Orange County and didn't get the reward for it. Had chances, had a chance that he felt very easily could have gone, and all of a sudden you aren't talking 3-0. Could have been 2-2 midway through that second half in his mind. Ellis Hayden trying to force his way through the door. I don't know that it's a revelation, these two playing together, Bustamante and Cheney, and Johnson, who's been part of the lineup for sure. But Ellis Hayden crossing out in front, it's in! Finally! And the celebration from Cheney shows months of frustration in the rearview mirror.
If he's going to celebrate like that, let's have some more goals, Mr. Cheney, please. Another good build-up down the flank into the feet of Bustamante. He finds Ellis Hayden. The cross is a good one. You didn't see it from that angle, but the run of Cheney, he just galloped into the near post area, across the face of goal. The deftest of touches, the goalkeeper no chance. The handspring, spectacular.
Fresno Fuego, man. His first Fresno Football Club goal. Is he celebrating like that with the Fuego? That's a serious question. You get hurt doing that. Fresno City College. Man, Christian Cheney, it's been begging for a while now, hasn't it? His 10th appearance of the year, just his third start. They've been waiting for a number 9 to get healthy and then start scoring, and maybe this is the start of something for Christian Cheney. He needed that in a really bad way, and all of a sudden Fresno's got 2-goal lead.
He needed it, Fresno needed it, and Adam Smith will be hoping that he's found somebody that can score regularly from the number 9 position.
You know, the real revelation is Zach Ellis Hayden. You said it pregame, and it registered. It didn't hit me quite this hard just how valuable he was.
It's just, he gives so much balance. We've seen Cooper on the left, now we're seeing Camden Fay on the left, but just having...
Johnson! Oh, Johnson!
Absolutely spectacular. He's got some power in those legs. They back off at their peril. They just invite the shot. Thank you very much. I'll take the chance, he says. Nobody closes Johnson down. He takes one touch, he takes 2 touches, he looks up, he cracks the shot with the right peg. And Meredith has every right to be furious. His back line left him hanging out to dry.
Well, okay then.
Johnson will probably get the yellow card for the celebration. But why not take your shirt off when you score goals like that?
Well, maybe there's more. Cheney trying to make his run in behind. It's snuffed out by S2.
Jamal Johnson receives a yellow card.
Yeah, there it is. There's the yellow card.
After scoring a golazo.
Oh, the three best public address announcers in the league belong to Fresno, Las Vegas, and I like Lance McGarvey in Louisville. But I mean, three real different styles. Kaffa is down, and he's dragging himself forward.
Heavy challenge there from Daly. He's gone into the book as well. Leaving your feet like that. One, if not both, feet up in the air. Definitely a yellow card. Some frustration now for S2. We said just like that, it was a 2-goal lead, but just like that, it was a 3-goal lead now.
This has legitimately been 2 months in the making. Because you start the year with Fresno and you go, okay, there's the homegrown pieces, there's the veterans with USL experience, there's the guys that Adam Smith and Frank Yolop brought in that they were high on from international markets, and Johnson comes in from Jacksonville, and you go, okay, the pieces are there. It's just been one issue after another. Maybe, just maybe, Fresno has found their footing. By the way, Kaffa got the world's kindest assist for that golazo from Jamal Johnson. It was all him. It was all Kaffa.
Well, complete the pass at midfield. Johnson then takes it 30 yards, hits it from 35. It's called padding your stats for Juan Pablo. A goal and the assist on the night.
Y que se escuchen los zorros.
Ball lofted through. Flag is down. It's Cheney across. It's begging for Bustamante. He's trying to drag another teammate along into the scoring column.
The USL's official Facebook page brings you the best from across the league.
Just needs to have the courage to take the shot there. He's in a great position. Certainly he was anticipating the run in the near post area from Bustamante, but we're in behind like that. Have a crack.
Unbelievably, I think there could be another USL Sports Center top 10 after, 2 last weekend? Alice Hayden driving up the right-hand touchline. Nobody there. That'll get out for a S2 throw. You can watch exclusive video content and photography from across the United Soccer League by following the league's official Instagram account at USL Soccer.
I was thinking about the goal of the year for the USL, and they actually have a goal of the year. It's an international, I'll say competition, that's not what I mean, but certainly the USL has a case for winning that one this year.
There's a couple. I mean, the one Kenny Walker against Ottawa. That's what you're thinking?
Absolutely. I mean, that's probably one of the most spectacular goals I've ever seen.
What, a half volley from midfield?
To the upper right-hand corner of the goal. And there are some that would say that Gareth Bale's goal in the Champions League was pretty spectacular, but I'd say Kenny Walker's got him beat.
Bustamante gets the return ball. Johnson makes himself available. Johnson crossing, Barrera backing away. Barrera on the turn, Barrera shooting, and Meredith down to make the catch.
Cheney there waiting for the rebound. It's just too easy right now for Fresno, and John Hutchinson is just struggling not to pull his hair out right now. S2 are just reacting to the game. They're not anticipating anything that's going on. You've got players, 5 players in the midfield area. They're not coming to terms at all with what Fresno are throwing at them. And this is just, again, too easy defensively. Poor from S2. Barrera collecting the ball and too many touches.
Chance to get forward now. Gonzalez dispossessed.
John Hutchinson turns away from the field in disgust.
And yeah, he's fit to be tied, and you can understand why, but the substitutes he made, you never quite know what's going on in the background, but I think Ray Sari was a massive loss for Seattle. I thought he covered a lot of ground, especially when the ball did get turned over.
Well, he did a good job as far as being there defensively, but his touches were far too negative and nothing was going forwards, and I think that's why John Hutchinson is frustrated, is that there are the opportunities to move the ball forwards, but S2 are not finding those passing seams, partly because of Fresno's defensive shape is good, but you also got to move the ball quickly and make the selection of passes a lot quicker.
38-year-old, Australian-born, hundreds of games for Central Coast Mariners, was an assistant last year to Ezra Hendrickson, who joined RGV's head coach Junior Gonzalez as assistants under Siggy Schmidt in Los Angeles with the Galaxy. Stepping up as the head coach this year, and well, they haven't won on the road yet, and well, the deck at times can feel a bit stacked against him. All the lineup changes. This is 11 different lineups in 11 games. And this one just simply unraveled a little bit. If all you give up is a penalty in the first half, we're not talking about how disappointing this result is right now. But well, one of the greater goals you're going to see in the league this year was one goal, and well, the other, Cheney, been pining for that for months.
The second goal was a spectacular goal, but in a different way, because it was a team goal with
service toward Estrada, caught by Rainish.
It was a team goal with good combination play up the right-hand side. Finished with aplomb with the deftest of headers from Cheney. And up until that point, I think the changes that had been made by John Hutchinson after the halftime break were pretty positive. The youngster coming on, Gonzalez, had some impact on the play. But Gilroy had done some positive things, but now things have just really fallen apart for S2, and they don't really have any ideas going forwards. They continue to send Ulysses and Usman up the flanks, but they again can't find them because of the defensive shape of Fresno.
Circling back, it's Burke Gilroy. Backs it up the right side. This is Olsen. Out of Seattle U. Led Division I in goals. Number 71 in his sophomore season.
Juan Pablo Caffa is frustrated there by the late whistle, but that was a good decision there from Elton Garcia, the man in the middle. We saw the foul, let play continue to see if the advantage would develop for Seattle Sounders 2. It didn't. Calls the play back for the free kick.
It'll be a free kick for S2. Just beyond the outskirts of the far side of the 18 and about 30 yards back. Lifted to the back post, got by Estrada, and ultimately a foul. That was ball back to Fresno. Changes on the way. And let's be honest, Zach Ellis-Hayden's not going to be the Mexicano man of the match. It's not going to work out that way, probably not in the cards, but he comes off having been just instrumental tonight in his return.
He's done a fantastic job flying up and down the right-hand flank. He's done a great job in the offensive side of the ball, and also defensively as well. And there's the scorer of the second goal, Cheney. He'll be frustrated that he's coming off. He's done a really good job and made a really good case for himself tonight. And he'll be certainly one that Adam Smith will be a little bit more willing to put in that number 9 position. Suarez comes on.
Fresno native, Chiva, a longtime player with this Fuego franchise in the PDL. He gets a good applause, he always does. Wow, what a ball from Chiva Cuevas, chance, save, Meredith, still alive all the way across and out. Cesaris found himself through, and that was cheeky as could be from Cuevas. Tell me they're not having fun right now.
They are certainly enjoying their game of football tonight, Fresno. First touch on the ball, springs Cesares. Didn't really have any options on the pass, so he goes for the shot. The goalkeeper stands tall and strong. Makes a good save. Really for the first time tonight, Cesares gets into the attacking third. Mickey Daly has moved out to the right fullback position in the place of Ellis-Hayden.
Jamal Johnson, yes, he can shoot from here, but he'll cross. It's a bit behind Chiva Cuevas. This felt infectious from kickoff for Fresno.
Well, there was that moment right early in the match. Fresno, we've seen it from them at different times this season. They get off to a good start, then lose possession. And Seattle came down and had an opportunity to take the shot, but Fresno recovered well, get the goal kick. And then from that moment, the Foxes have really been on the front foot and have been, enjoying playing the game tonight. They've had good discipline defensively. They've maintained good shape. They've, for the most part, negated the runs forwards of Usman and Ulysses.
Well, on Fire Squad, Fresno's waited a while for this, and you think back to that first meeting between these teams, those two were borderline unstoppable on the wings. At least it felt that way when it was happening. They certainly found their way up the field, Usman and Ulysses.
They're so athletic and fast. And extremely fit. They've covered a lot of ground tonight.
Johnson. Cuevas has his hand up. Johnson will go for it! Woo!
Would have been better than the first, perhaps. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. S2 just backed off again, inviting the shot.
Cesaris, Kaffa, Johnson lays it off. There's some space for Barrera. The overlap is there. Daly. And a corner on the way. Jamal Johnson getting his coach fired up.
Kaffa was wide open on that on the attack that led to the corner. This is Johnson just collecting the ball. Never closed down. Malone has to get closer.
Barrera. A header backwards and a collision of heads. Malone back to his feet. He knows heat from Las Vegas and moved to Mercer Island in Washington last year. Keep up to date all the best social media from around the league. Kelsey Steele hosts Off the Post every Friday through the league's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram feeds.
Adam Smith is getting ready to make his final substitution change. Kaffa might have been struggling a little bit. His hands were on his knees. He's covered a lot of ground. Does a great job in the midfield role that he's been employed in tonight, but it does ask a lot of the captain. He has to maintain his defensive presence as well as his attacking presence.
Kai Briscoe, final substitute for S2. They made 2 at the half. Usman will come out. Unlucky. The injury to his hand, it gets wrapped up. Ultimately, the initial penalty that went to Fresno just after the 25th minute bounced off that same hand. He'll come off. And you can see that left hand still bandaged up, and he's working with the athletic trainer.
He's pointing to his lower hamstring as well, saying that he was feeling some tugging perhaps. Good strong challenge from Del Campo.
Popped up by Brown. Jamal Johnson. That's the first of his 5 goals that weren't the first goal scored for Fresno in a match.
Just like Team Mexico, you know.
It's a relief for him, a relief for Fresno, a relief for his coach. It's also a relief that a number 9 scored the goal tonight, the second goal. It's Cheney getting his first of the season.
Cuevas earns the flyby. Cesaris. How many times we heard Adam Smith say all the goals can't come from the wings in midfield. There's the cross from Cuevas.
Fans weren't sure about that last Ole, but they're able to keep it going.
There's the service. Held by Meredith. Excellent diving grab.
He's made some really good saves tonight, Meredith. He's had to. Seeing Sarah's getting further forwards into the attack. I think it's because Kaffa is getting a little fatigued.
Estrada. Flag is up. This is offside.
It was close. You see getting into the attack. A little flick of the boot to spring efficiency down that right flank.
Quarter of an hour to go. Well, Estrada earning his check, the 30-year-old chasing the ball still. Johnson, more space. Kafa. Cuevas. Herrera for Daly.
Well, that one header in the first half, we haven't mentioned Estrada. The rest of the game, he hasn't received any service up top.
Estrada, a walk-on at UCLA, to the 11th overall draft pick in 2010 by the Sounders. Guy who's earned every inch of his professional career, bouncing around a bit of these last few years. Sliding ball through, the flag is down. It's Bustamante who lofts it toward the bleachers.
Thought it might have been deflected on the way out and over the goal, but it wasn't. He was onside. Malone in the right fullback position kept him on.
It's Olsen. Daly. Ty Briscoe. Back to Jesse Daly. Briscoe. You guessed it, Daly. It's Briscoe. Stepped away, but another opportunity for Gonzalez. No other game plan or circumstance. It has gone Fresno's direction tonight. Penalty in the 27th for Kafa. Johnson in the 54th. Cheney in the 52nd. And a 60-plus day wait for a win appears to be closing sooner than later.
Interesting looking at the demeanor of both teams, the frustration of Seattle, and the morale and high morale of the home squad.
Well, and Kafa asked to play a bit of a different role tonight, ends up scoring the penalty that gets things going. He's set to come off here in the 80th minute.
Well, no surprise that he's coming off. He's at moments where he's looked completely exhausted. He's played a really good game in the new role in the center of midfield in partnership with Cesares. It's Kafa who has had the attacking role. Cesares has been the holding player. Really shored things up, and Kafa's used his magical skills to distribute the ball and find his teammates. But have late he's looked pretty tired. The hands have begun to the knees for the captain, trying to suck the oxygen in. He'll come to the sideline and his well-earned rest. Blanco's coming in his stead.
Barrera gets the armband. And Juan Pablo Caffa was great in the Open Cup, has a big match coming up on Wednesday night, but he made sure that it was the right start for Fresno this evening.
Calmly done, putting the ball in the back of the net from the penalty spot. Showing his leadership as the captain, stepping up, taking the responsibility. No mistake made. Really was the foundation for what has been a really good performance for the Foxes tonight.
Drops on the far touchline. Foul on the far side.
And Feo didn't think it was a foul. Estrada coming back, trying to find a way to be involved in the game.
Briscoe. Daly pushed from behind. Kyle Rainish trying to get a shutout here. It'd be a big one for him. There's Milton Blanco. He came on for Fresno there a moment ago. Player coach for Fresno Fuego. He's been around the franchise for over a decade. It's his first regular season appearance in the USL with Fresno Fuego. And, well, Milton Blanco, born in the United States of Salvadoran heritage, holds passports in Mexico and the United States, a former MVP for the Fuego, played for Chivas USA. A well-traveled man, finally returning to Chuck Chancey Park to wear hometown colors.
To be able to replace experience with experience. Caffa coming off, Blanco coming on.
Estrada chasing. Rainish is outside the penalty area.
It's an important touch there from Cuevas to put that out for the throw-in, because Rainish was struggling to get back in goal. Briscoe gets that controlled calmly, without pressure. Might have been able to put Rainish under some pressure.
Narbonne. Blanco providing pressure. Barrera joining in the fact. Narbonne. It's Barrera. Barrera putting on the moves and lofting it over the back line. Bustamante is in behind. Bustamante still the back heel. Johnson save. Meredith still alive, and it's in. Jamal Johnson, that man again. Just another exclamation point for Fresno.
He'd already put the icing on the cake. Now he's put the cherry on top. Johnson with the finish. The ball over the top that found Bustamante was a beautiful diagonal pass from Barrera. Malone trying to get back. Bustamante took 1-2 touch too many, but he does really well to find Johnson. A great save from the goalkeeper. But Johnson follows up the rebound and makes no mistake putting that one away. Good adjustment there from Meredith to find a way to make the save. And Johnson with the finish. Nothing Meredith could do about the second shot coming in. Well, how about that pass from Pereira, though? That was pretty special.
Well, you know, it's funny. You mentioned it earlier with Cheney's goal. You go, this is special in a different way. It's a team goal, and Bustamante is waiting for his chance to get on the board. He doesn't have a goal yet in regular season play. He's been waiting a long time, and he didn't pull the trigger. He gave the ball to Johnson.
In that respect, I have to give credit to Malone because he did really well to get back goal side and take away the shooting opportunity for Bustamante. But you got to give credit to the young man that he was heads up. He knew that Johnson was there. He tried the back heel once, didn't come off. Tried it a second time, and it did. But that's the second goal tonight that he's been involved in. He didn't get the assist on Cheney's goal, but he was involved in the build-up play because it was him that passed the ball out to Ellis Hayden. Say something about Barrera too, because he was involved in both the Cheney goal and the second Johnson goal.
Wednesday, June 6th, 84th round of the U.S. Open Cup at the world-class Bank of California Stadium in Los Angeles. Follow the Zorros on the road with the travel and ticket deal, which includes a ticket to the match.
Which teams are hitting peak performance in the USL? I know one. Find out Monday afternoon with the USLsoccer.com Power Rankings, released to see where your team sits after the most recent results. Here's tonight's man of the match. It's Christian Cheney, and it's brought to you by El Mexicano.
Well deserved. Just look at the run he makes across the face of goal there. There's Bustamante springing Ellis Hayden down the flank. The cross into the near post area was good. The header was just as good. The celebration, that was something special.
The goal $5, the stumble $10, the celebration priceless. Is that all right? I don't think MasterCard's a sponsor, but I think you get the idea.
Well, maybe El Mexicano can come up with something with that.
Look, for us too, this is a learning moment for a team that is very young, have gotten results at key times this year at Fresno on the ropes in Tacoma. This is not indicative of the larger effort from them on the season, but this one is going to sting on the way back to Washington for sure.
It definitely is. And they've had some good moments, but it's good moments really defensively where they've had to come up with some big plays. Just more frustration. Estrada hasn't had any service. Where the answers have to be made, or the questions that have to be answered, is in the middle third. They just haven't been on terms with Fresno. And credit to Cesares, he's done a great job in his holding position there. But I've said it a few times tonight, Mike, is you've got 5 midfielders against 4. You should be able to figure it out, especially as you have the outside backs going forwards as well. So essentially you're making your 5 into 7. Those players just haven't been found. Ulysses, Usman, they never got any service. Consequently, Estrada didn't get to see any of the ball either. Barrera's had one of his better games for Fresno this season tonight.
Yes.
Well, one would argue that the whole team has, but he's been very influential down this right side.
Well, we talk so much about how well Zach Ellis Hayden played, and he did, but part of that is unlocking the best of Danny Barrera, isn't it?
I think you're right there. I think that having the confidence in what's behind you allows you to play with a lot more freedom as a player. I think we may have seen that from Barrera tonight because he knew that he had Ellis Hayden in support.
Well, and the page is going to turn in a couple minutes' time to what one can only argue is the biggest match in franchise history on Wednesday night away to Bank of California Stadium. And this is a Fresno team that left Argueta and Ribeiro and Fittis on the bench. Alex Cooper may or may not be available as he continues to mourn the loss of his dad. But well, Fresno's got decisions to make ahead of that match in the U.S. Open Cup against LAFC, one of the early darlings in their expansion season under Bob Bradley, who has won the Open Cup before. He's won a lot of things before, but he has won the Open Cup.
It's going to be a huge game for Fresno. It will be interesting to see who gets to play.
Opeo. And you got to deal with, there are 12 countries represented on this roster. Can't play everybody. A certain number of Americans have to be on the field. Bustamante tossed to ground. Icing on the cake, perhaps. Johnson, Blanco.
That new fan base is saying
Fresno, make some noise!
And Johnson just turned away there thinking that he'd won the throw-in, but the referee blows for a foul. Jamal a lot of disbelieving. He's like, I didn't do anything. I didn't leave my feet, didn't challenge the ball.
It's full time, or is it? No, that got up on the hand. The referee pointing towards the halfway line was really pointing to his hand. That's full time. 8 winless in the rear view mirror for Fresno. And finally, a result they've waited 2 grueling months for. Johnson scores twice. Fresno off the schneid. They win against Seattle Sounders 2, 4-0.
Very good performance from the home team. Very deserved of the win. And it's great to see Fresno find a way to turn defeats and ties into a victory.
We'll show you the goal that Scott Van Pelt isn't going to want to pass up tonight, and the rest of the highlights after this.
His first professional goal here for Fresno FC. Fresno's own delivers here at home. FresnoFC.com. El próximo partido de liga en casa.
Tell me, they dap up? They have a handshake? And Cheney waving that flag around, he and Fuego, that's a special relationship. Fresno 4, Seattle 0 at full time rather. As Fresno ends an 8-match winless streak in league play. They're alive in the Open Cup. And, well, they're up to now 15 points. The Western Conference inching ever closer to the red line. Let's take a look at the full-time highlights. Matt Stubbington alongside Mike Watts with you. And, well, it was a really decent chance here that could have changed the whole narrative of this game if Estrada gets that through.
Well, it was a good attack by S2. You'll see with the beautiful volley to find Estrada in the box. Save from Rainish was really important and really special. And then this was good movement here from Fresno. We saw it all game long. And there's Kaffa just stepping up as the captain, leading the way, hustling to get on the end of the ball, stands the ball up on the cross. And Usman there with the fluorescent bandage on his arm, making it very easy for the referee to see that he did handle the ball. And then Kaffa with the left foot puts it into the back of the net from the PK spot.
He goes over, grabs his shirt shortly after this penalty and dedicates the goal to the late Neil Cooper, Alex Cooper's father, who passed away this past week. But Fresno was not done there. Ellis Hayden was phenomenal in this game, and Cheney gets his first with Fresno Football Club in the regular season.
Well, there was a couple of special goals in the second half. This was a special team goal. Barrera to Bustamante to Ellis Hayden. The cross was wonderful. The run was brilliant from Cheney. The header was deft. The celebration was pretty special.
Priceless. It was priceless. I've been setting you this up for them for minutes. Well, Jamal Johnson, it starts behind the halfway line. Ultimately, no one steps up on him, and he scores a priceless goal.
It was a fantastic goal. Back off at your peril. They just invite the shot. And Juan Pablo Kaffa somehow gets the assist on this goal. But it's Jamal Johnson, all Jamal Johnson. A touch, another touch. I look up, I pick my point in the goal, and I put the ball right there from distance. Powerfully done by the Englishman. Meredith had every reason to be mad at his defense, just hanging him out to dry.
Odds are you'll be hearing that familiar three-tone sound, the Sports Center theme, as he bombs that in from 25, 30 yards out. He wasn't done, though. He's able to make this run from way back. Bustamante finds him, and, well, not once, but not twice. A third time he gets it, his second of the game.
I just never gave up on this. Barrera with the wonderful cross-the-field pass. Barrera had a really good game tonight for Fresno. And then Bustamante, he had a good game as well, involved in the second, involved in the fourth goal. And then Jamal Johnson just wouldn't quit on it. Puts it in for the cherry on top of the cake tonight. And you look at the stats, 16 shots for the home team, only 1 for the visitors, 9 on target. That's a really good return rate for Fresno Foxes, and I think Adam Smith could be thrilled with the way the team performed tonight.
And if you're S2, if that one shot goes in, this whole game is different from Estrada, but in the end it ends up being their only shot the entire match.
Oh, ifs and nuts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas, but it was a really disappointing performance from S2. They just never really got on terms at all, and they never anticipated the game. They were reacting the whole time. Their coach, John Hutchinson, was really frustrated. They have to really find a way to answer some questions on the way home tonight.
Already, June has been better to Fresno than April or May. Finally home again at Chuck Chancey Park, and a result months in the making. 8 winless in the league is over, and Cheney among those getting important goals tonight. And Johnson, one that you'll see again and again and again as Fresno knocks off the Sounders 4-0. For Dean Nevins, producer Roberto Fernandez, Red Osejo, our director, Matt Stubbington, Mike Watts saying thanks for watching. Have a good night, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.